Billy Napier had some high praise this week for some Florida Gators freshmen, and we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk to a Florida Gators freshman only here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered with more odds, props, and lines than ever before. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. Happy Friday. Woo, baby, weekend. All right. Sorry for anybody that hurt your ears. But I am Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon, written work with the whole nine sports at GiantsCountryofSI.com. Like, subscribe, comment, share, review, do whatever it is you want to do. But I appreciate it. Just know that. And also, September 1st. So this coming Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m., The Social at Midtown in Gainesville, live Locked On Gators recording. And then the next day, Friday, September 2nd, 5:30 p.m., live Locked On Gators recording, The Social at Midtown in Gainesville. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be a good time. And then we're going to watch the Florida Gators beat the Utah Utes. It's as simple as that. But that's not what we're talking about really today. Today we're talking about earlier this week, Billy Napier was in a press conference and he was talking about freshmen that have impressed him. And there's three that we're going to kind of single out here. He named a couple, but Shemar James, Austin Barber, and Tyreak Sapp are the three that we're going to speak about because they're the three that I want to talk about. And then two of them are guys that I've been okay, I'll say this. One of them is someone that I have been pounding the table for in Shemar James. The other one is someone who I've been high on because of what Florida Gators football player has told me in Austin Barber. And Tyreak Sapp is a guy who's kind of just, he's always been good, but it's just a matter of getting on the field. So we're going to start with Shemar James, just because that's literally the order that I wrote the names. But Shemar James, the only true freshman on this list, true freshman linebacker. And this is a big one too, because you can check the tape, baby boy. I was back here when Shemar James was going through his recruitment. I was like, I want this kid to be a Florida Gator. He's so versatile, athletic, smart. He can do everything. I want him to be a Florida Gator. He is a Florida Gator. He is. And he has been impressing in camp. And that's the least surprising thing I've ever heard. But him impressing in camp means that he's probably going to work himself onto the field. And by probably, I mean he's almost definitely going to work himself onto the field in games that matter because Billy Napier will play the best players, unlike a certain recently fired Florida Gators football coach who was pretty openly just like, I'm going to play the guys that I like more, and we're just going to hope that we win with them. Not the case. Billy Napier, this whole coaching staff has showed that they're going to have some fun, but end of the day, this is a no-nonsense team. They want to win games, and the way to do that is by playing the best players. Shemar James will rotate, and also important to say, specifically defensively, like we know this team's going to rotate a lot. That's what they're going to do. I think it's fine to rotate as much as you want positions that aren't quarterback or offensive line. I think those are the two positions that shouldn't change that much. Because obviously your quarterback's your quarterback and your offensive line, again, it's about how you perform as a unit, not just, getting other guys meaningful run. So that's my stance on that. But Shemar James is going to rotate and he's going to play. He is, I think, already the most well-rounded linebacker on the team. He's not the best linebacker on the team. I think that's still Ventrell. But I think Shemar James is legitimately the second or third best linebacker on this team. And so he's going to play. And I think by mid-season, Shemar James is going to be a starting linebacker on this team. I think with that college experience and his skill set in this Patrick Toney defense, which I know I said I was going to break it down this week, and then we had the Hayden Hansen interview is the second and third segments of this show. So, and I want to give a full show to the Florida Gators defense. So that'll be next week. But right now we're talking about Shemar James and his role in this defense. He's going to, I think, excel here. Him being on that list is not surprising at all. Austin Barber is the next name on that list. And if you've been listening to the show for months now, which some of you have, I think most of you haven't, just given on the growth that the show has seen recently, which thank you so much. But Austin Barber a few months ago got brought up because I had Princely Umanmielen on the show a few months ago, and I was like, hey man, who is the most improved offensive lineman that you faced just since 2021, since the start of 2021? And he was just like, Austin Barber. Like that kid is going to be good once he gets the playbook down, once he gets he's going to be good. So Austin Barber is someone that pretty much since then I've been like, look, if Princely Umanmielen says it, and everybody knows, like I like Princely Umanmielen. I loved his play when he did play. So I'm going to respect his opinion. And also, he is a football player, and I am not. So I'm going to take his opinion of football players higher than I'll take mine, especially players that he's going against. Then I'm going to take it higher than mine. So Austin Barber is someone that we're looking forward to, and then reports kept coming out about him making these huge improvements from last season. And if he can continue to develop at the rate that he's been developing, he is going to be a freaky good left tackle. And I'm saying left tackle because I do think he's going to be the starting left tackle, with Cameron Wade's probably starting right tackle whenever he gets that job. Maybe it's Michael Tarpon, so whoever is going to be, especially with COVID years, as right now it's impossible to track everybody, just because especially with COVID years, some guys are, been in college for quite a few years, but they're still redshirt juniors. So yeah, it's just, we'll see. But with Austin Barber, I do think he's going to be a starting left tackle eventually. That seems to be what he's headed towards right now. And he could be a pretty solidly drafted Florida Gators offensive lineman for the first time in a long time. And a lot of that credit will go to this coaching staff, deservedly so, but also to Austin Barber, deservedly so. The last player is Tyreak Sapp, who, of course, we mentioned already. Redshirt freshman, defensive end, defensive lineman, whatever you want to call him. I know that a lot of people will call him an edge defender. He is not an edge defender anymore. He's going to be playing that defensive end role, where he will likely have someone standing up outside of his shoulder a lot, which is wonderful. I don't have a problem with that. But he's always been good. It's just a matter of actually getting out there and doing it. He didn't play last year. He didn't put up film last year, but he was pretty good from what we could see. So yeah, I think Tyreak Sapp, wrecking crew, just every time that we've seen him, whether it's practice or scrimmages or whatever it might be, every time we've seen him, he's been wrecking. So him working with Sean Spencer and Mike Peterson on this defensive line, which I get it. Mike Peterson's offensive outside linebackers coach. Shut up. That's a pass rusher in this defense. So shut up. It's as simple as that. But Tyreak Sapp is someone that has done nothing but impress. There's been nothing but high praise from him, Shemar James, and Austin Barber. So very much looking forward to them. But there's another freshman that I'm looking forward to even more, and we're about to talk with him. It's Hayden Hansen, Locked On Gators athlete, I guess we'll call him, Florida Gators freshman tight end, who's here for his second interview, but he's going to be here for the entire season. But first, a quick word from BetOnline, because if you think the Florida Gators will win 7 or more games, then bet the over. If you think they'll win 7 or less games, bet the under. And I get to say 7 because right now on BetOnline, the Gators win total is set at 7. So if you bet the over and they win 7 games, congratulations, you get your money back, which, yeah, ties suck, but at least you don't lose everything. And if you bet the under and they win 7 games, then you get your money back, which, again, ties suck, but at least you get some money back, right? Instead of losing everything. So yay! But BetOnline is something I've been using for years. It's got so much. It's got football, baseball, basketball, soccer, tennis, hockey, darts, table tennis, Counter-Strike Go, League of Legends, economics, financials. You could bet on, I realize economics, financial, same thing. You can bet on presidential elections around the world. You can bet on if aliens will invade and who they will invade. And it's just, there's a lot. It's intense. Not really, but it's fun. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. Joining me now for Locked On Gators and joining me every week throughout the season is Hayden Hansen, the Florida Gators freshman tight end. And you wrapped up your first fall camp, which we'll talk about in a second. But right now, the bigger headline story for the Florida Gators, I guess, is that new facility. So what are your impressions of this new facility?
It's all. That's what I think. All the people who have contributions to it in any way, shape, or form for it as well. As of the whole, it's just crazy. We'll start with the set to feed, I think, all 500 athletes here. I mean, this place is just set up to leave the place, honestly. Like, there's so much to do. Like, the massage chairs, the pool, lazy river, and of course, football only. And the chairs that recline, I think $1,000 each. Training room, that's honestly one of the most impressive. You got the tubs, the hot tubs. There's a soft cryotherapy. Like I haven't seen anything like that. To the indoor, it's so much easier for us, and the special too. They got new technology, and it impressed me.
Yeah, the thing that was, I think, the most impressive to me was, I think they're calling it just like the Gator Room, but it's like with the wall where you can like see what the other team is gonna bring out, and you can line up across from it. That just looked like so wild to me, that's even a thing there. But what would you say your favorite part is of that whole facility?
Question. Part basketball court they got next to the lazy river. Got some serious pickup games going on. Not to say the core, honestly. I mean, it's just that's my part.
Yeah, I'd imagine someone like I'd imagine most of the tight ends are pretty good when you're talking about a basketball court, just because like y'all are already up there compared to me and compared to other people. So I'd imagine you guys are
That's for
at a
sure.
pretty immediate advantage there. But just getting back to football and the field, just how was your first or how is your first fall camp experience going?
I mean, it was. I mean, I feel like any real ups and downs, you learn a lot when I entered. I'm a lot better. Coach Napier does a good job of the fundamentals. It's practice set up to where there's like the last is meant to be when you're tired. It's 20 plays. It comes down to the hold up when you're tired, and just. I mean, overall it was good for me. Days, and I'm just ready for the season. We're about to start game planning for Utah also.
And I mean, obviously, we've been through quite a few practices at this point now and scrimmages. What would you say, or who would you say, was the most difficult defender against you when they were covering you?
All right, so that's a good question. I'm going to say I'll start out with him and stuff. He was a hammerhead. That dude's pretty good. Hawks, obviously. I mean, that dude's he's going to the league to this year. Most like, I mean, those two for sure. And I say like route Torrance. I mean, he stayed out and stuff, and those guys just like, okay, if they're going to be with me the whole duration, that's a lot of other stuff I learned to do. And yeah, I mean, those guys were definitely some.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's ever listened to this show knows, especially how I feel about Rashad Torrance. I'm just like, he's one of the elite safeties in college football. So glad to hear that, because I've been pushing the Rashad Torrance hype train for over a year now, and I'm glad that it's that I'm getting some reassurance here, because I mean, obviously we know Florida's DBs in general are just incredibly talented. And I think that my listeners here might lose their minds if I didn't ask this question about it. How has it been for you to be able to catch passes from someone like Anthony Richardson and even the rest of this quarterback room? Like, I know I'm high on Max Brown. So just what's it been like to be out there with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, about like, wow, I just caught a ball from it's cool. But I mean, it's all just like we're on there talking. We're all sometimes you forget that. Like sometimes you forget the AR is going to be that guy. I forget it, but I mean, it's pretty cool. Max Brown and Miller. It's cool. I mean, those guys are all arm angle. It's just it's a
And I mean, I've talked about scheme on this show all the time since Billy Napier got hired, Patrick Toney, and all these guys. And everyone knows, like, I love split zone is a huge thing for me. It's my favorite. I would go nuts last year every time we'd see it. And this offense is obviously going to be heavily reliant on the tight end, which is pretty rare in college games today. But what is it like for you to be playing the position that's a focal point of this offense?
I mean, it's also a lot of pressure that comes with it. We got to be ready. We got to know every call. But I mean, it gives a lot of tight ends a chance. I mean, you have to have because not a lot of teams do that. They're ready for it, but we'll see. I think a good year this year, especially under Napier. Some people down the line.
Yeah, that kind of leads to the last question that we have here. This one's going to be a little shorter than usual, but what are you most looking forward to for September 3rd, Utah coming to the Swamp? It'll be your first time as a player in that swamp. Just what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, since summer. I mean, everyone's been and I look at the stadium, 100,000 people in here. Like, I didn't feel the energy, tempo of a college game. You know, I'm not gonna be able to hear a clap. We got the stuff, and I mean, I want to see the culture of this. Great. It'll be good to see in person.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm excited. I can't wait. I bought front row tickets. I'm like, I cannot wait for this first game there. So I'm very excited for this. But this is Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators tight end. He'll be here every week during the season and at least once after. We'll see what happens with that if we continue doing that. But this is Hayden Hansen. Thank you so much, Hayden. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with a bonus episode from John Garcia, Sports Illustrated's Director of Football Recruiting, Locked On's Recruiting Insider. Now with your second listen, Locked On SEC, hosted by Chris Gordy of Sports 790. Get the best coverage on the best conference, including the best university, the University of Florida. And I was on there on Wednesday's episode, if I'm not mistaken. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find my written work at the Whole Nine Sports and Giants Country at SI.com. And I'll see you all tomorrow.